Hey, so what's up? This is Flex Wheeler with another edition of Flex for Life with the homie Greg, my co-host. What's up, G?
What's up?
What's up? Hey, first, what's going on with my little girl?
So, was on the phone with her earlier today, and obviously I'm going to try to hook her up with Farard because no one is signing up for her weight class. So, because she's starting out, she's switched. I mean, she basically won the Muay Thai version of the National Golden Gloves already when she was 18.
Yeah.
So she can't get fights. So now she's decided to, and her hips are bothering her a little bit more. So she's moving on to just boxing. And you've seen a couple of her sparring videos. So, she's looking pretty good because she's sparring against pros right now.
Yeah.
To get ready for this. But basically, she's up a weight class because they didn't want her fighting against their fighter at 115. So she's moving up to bantamweight. But basically, they checked the registration, and there's no one registering for her weight class right now at the state qualifying level. So basically, this will move her. If no one does by next week, basically that bumps her right up to state Golden Gloves is the next level, and there's got to be people in that
one. Wow. I think we talked about that. I don't know whether it's online or not. That's crazy. That's what's crazy about the sport now, where back in, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, freaking even going way back to Jack Johnson, they wanted to fight the best. I mean, they chased the best. They didn't run from it. Where now it's about setups, who's a good matchup, who to keep your fighter away from because they could lose. That's just, I don't call that competition, man. You should run towards the freaking 800-pound gorilla in the room. How else are you going to test yourself?
Well, that's how I got retired though too. So that's the cost. But
other thing is you got to be prepared.
Yeah,
you got to be prepared. So,
but the funny thing is, back in your day and my day, there wasn't as much footage until you really got high up, right? Because there were no cell phone cameras.
That's true.
There was no social media. So
we just like Super 8.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, and you might not even find that, but there are a couple fights I went into completely blind because we didn't know much about these people at all. Whereas now, I told you we have to keep all of her footage under wraps because her coach wants to keep everything as secretive as possible. But I'm like, there's video of her everywhere on the Muay Thai side.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's very many Neely Nagais in the world. So they can narrow that down pretty quick. And they see she was a boxing heavy fighter. I mean, she wasn't a pure Muay Thai person. So the pure Muay Thai person would get destroyed in a boxing match. They're just not geared for that. And that's why she won so much, because she was a boxer.
Like I come more from the point fighting world, and back then, if there's 30 people, you just stood next to the person and that's who you fought against. And from there, they matched you up, but you didn't know who you're going to fight. I mean, after the first round, you got to see kind of what people were doing. But again, the best is going to be the best, man. I mean, look in UFC now. You have fighters who will have a whole fight camp set to fight somebody, and that person will, for whatever reason, not make it. And now they're fighting somebody else just on a day's work, or a day's call, or, 24 hours notice. And you go in there and the guy, a lot of the times that guy goes in there and wins, just because it's an opportunity for them to get moved up. So that's still just, I don't get it. A pure fighter, listen, whether you had film or not, a pure fighter is going to fight you no matter what. It's in their DNA. You can't run from that. Stop biting me, Zeus.
I was wondering what that sound was. We're picking it up today.
Jeez, man, what is your problem? Get out of here. Oh, my gosh. I can't even pick him up now, and he's so freaking big.
I've seen the videos. Yeah, his head's poking. Now you see his ears.
Yeah, Mike. Anyway, come on. Let's get it. If you don't stop fighting.
It happened to Rose Namajunas this weekend because her the replacement fighter for Alexa Grasso ended up beating her on a controversial scorecard, but she was at a fight camp gearing up for Alexa Grasso, who was a Mexican boxing heavy person and former champion, and then she went up against I know the other girl's ranked, but I had no clue who she was. I'm not really keeping up with UFC these days, but I'm sure no one really fights like Alexa as a boxer, kickboxer. So I'm sure the strategy had to change a little bit. And unfortunately, Rose's camp isn't well known for their good strategy to begin with.
I watched that fight. I mean, I thought she lost. I mean, the girl handled her. Oh yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I thought it was just clear cut. I mean, she was just more busy. Yeah, I thought it was just, I thought the call was right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that one. I only tuned in for the main event, and that was a good fight. I have to give him that. But yeah, so you thought she lost?
Yeah, I thought she lost.
Not even close, right? I'm reading online.
I'm a huge fan of her because she fights like from a karate style. She throws kicks without loading up, and she's great with her hands. She's great with her distance. She's long against these other short fighters. She has long legs, long limbs, but nah, it wasn't her night. Yeah, it wasn't her night, in my opinion. So I agree with the judges.
Because it hasn't been her night for several years now, truthfully.
Yeah. That's a shame. But yeah, the other fights were amazing, man. I mean, I don't know. I hate to say this, I wasn't really rooting for Patty. You know what I mean? Even though one thing he proved to everybody, this dude's a fighter, man. I mean, he was taking just clean shots and
he was taking
falling and getting back too. Up and
he was taking clean eye pokes too and coming back out.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think any of those were malicious where he tried to, like the one, I think they were all accidental, and I think Patty understood that, and that's why they shook hands about it. But it was a freaking great fight. I tell you what, that Patty got hard. My gosh.
Yeah.
He fought till the end. I mean, he was getting handled, man. I mean, and the thing about it, any of those punches would have knocked any of his other competitors out. They stumbled him, and he got up and freaking came back and was able to still deliver a great, performance. So huge shout out to him. I'm a fan of his now.
Yeah,
and he definitely will be a champion soon. Yeah, he definitely will. It's only a matter of time before he becomes a champion.
I wonder about that, in all honesty, because he got handled by Justin. I know there are the eye pokes. And Justin probably wouldn't. He's got the interim title. I don't know if he's really a major threat to the actual title. I don't know. That's just me, because he's had his chances and never been able to pull the trigger.
Right.
But I guess
the
we'll see.
The reason I say that is because Patty's young.
Yeah, he's going to get better
for a long time. I mean, it's just a mathematic. It's a matter of math. I mean, when you have a fighter who's been there longer, they're older, they took more punishment. You have a freaking up and coming star like Patty who can just, I mean, he's proven that he can take a punch as long as he stays healthy. He's going to be eventually the champion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Justin's been around. His first MMA fight was in 2011. So he's going back to, he had the World Series of Fighting title for a while also back in the mid 2010s. So you're right, he's going back quite a while now.
Yeah. What did you think about the co-main event?
I didn't watch it. I only saw the main event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Now just go back to Patty though real quick. Going back to Patty just real quick.
Yeah.
His non-fight physique, his what we call off season to his fight season physique wise, that's like two different people. I mean, he's like, it's like when Eddie Murphy did the Nutty Professor and he had the fat suit on. I mean, have you seen Patty Pimblett's off season face?
I haven't, but they kind of talked about it. This guy loses a lot of weight to come down to fight. But I haven't seen photos of him.
See if I can pull one up. But yeah, no, it's I think I got a good one for us. But Yeah. So what? Tell me about the co-main event. Who is that one?
It was, gosh, this guy from China. He's built like a brick tank, and gosh, who is he fighting?
Guess I can pull it up. Oh, the O'Malley fight, Song Yadong and O'Malley.
Yeah. Song Yadong and O'Malley, and that's what I was talking about. Remember, Song Yadong opponent pulled out. And remember, we were talking
right.
on the other one. I was like, I didn't know whether it's fake or not, but O'Malley was in the gym. It's like, hey man, you got it. He goes, got what? And he's like, you got to fight. And he was just in the gym training, and look at it. He took advantage of it and made it. And, that boosted him tremendous. But, it was interesting because you could tell that O'Malley was very aware of this guy's power, because he's just like, he looks like a little bodybuilder, but he's freaking fluent in everything. And but towards the end, O'Malley just started touching him up horribly, man. Just touching him up real nicely. So that was great. I'm a huge fan of O'Malley's too. So that was great to see him come and put people to, close a lot of people's mouths, because a lot of people were doubting him against this Song Yadong guy.
Especially it was late notice fight too.
Yeah. I think it was like a week or two before.
All right, tell me if you're ready for this one. Bang! There's off season. There's
wow.
He's wearing a lot of clothing there. You can see the belly.
Good grief! No, that is not the same person.
Like I said, it's like Eddie Murphy putting on the suit for the Nutty Professor.
Good.
Even the cheeks. Look at that. His head is bigger. He's like got Barry Bonds' head in that one.
I'm just staring at all that. Even look at the hands. Yeah, look at the belly. Look at the chest. I mean, he even dyes his hair. Looks like his hair is more red. Wow. God dang, that got to be really stressful in your internal organs, man, because they don't lose weight over time. They do crash diets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm hoping no other people or fighters are taking that as like a litmus test to work with, because he's a 1-for-1. I mean, there's so many other stories. Like Johnny Hendricks had that same issue where, they said he enjoyed his food between fighting camps, and it started to cost him later because it made it more difficult to lose weight. Yeah. Or I know the rumors were about maybe he was using a little extra to get the weight off. That's why, later on with age and everything else, he was not able to take the weight off because he stopped using certain things. But who knows? I mean, that's pretty pronounced, because I know they used to say Johnny Hendricks used to cut down from 220, 230 to get to 170. I know it was fat 230, 220.
I don't get that. I mean, to weight cut that much, don't you lose your power, or don't you lose just endurance and everything? I mean, again, they don't walk around that weight. They really do a severe water cut.
Yeah.
What is it, 24 hours before? That's why they look so lean when they weigh in, and then they're able to put back on weight. But I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm not trying to say I do, but it seems like I would be more comfortable fighting at a more natural walk around weight. Obviously, get in shape, get in fight shape. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But just to do those severe cuts to make a certain class, I don't know.
That's the issue I have with MMA is they say there's too many weight classes, and I say there's not enough for the health of the fighters. And I know ONE FC in Singapore, they have their rules changed a little bit more. That's why, like when Demetrius Johnson went there, he couldn't fight at the same weight class because they're not allowed to cut that much, and then they're only allowed to gain a certain amount back after weigh-ins. But yeah, I mean, in boxing and old kickboxing, that's why you had people like Manny Pacquiao. They said 7 weight class world champion is because each weight class is maybe 5 or 6 pounds difference.
Yeah.
Whereas here you have 125, 135, 145, 155, and then jumps all the way up to 170, then 185, and then all the way up to 205. So there's nothing in between. I know there's talk about a cruiserweight weight class at one point, which would have been interesting because people like Stipe Miocic were, they were not huge heavyweights, but they're still world champions.
Yeah, and then even like the 205, you see these guys walking around, they're pure heavyweights, man.
Yeah.
But why? I mean, again, I'm not saying I understand it all, but I mean that's a lot of weight just to drop down. Why not just fight at heavyweight and just be in better shape, But dropping down, knowing that you're going to go back up in weight, there's a reason for that, So I don't know, I don't get it.
Daniel Cormier, I've had several opportunities to go sit next to him talk because when he was, when Neely was wrestling for his wrestling team, he got down to 205 for a lot of fights.
Yeah,
and
but he fought at heavyweight, proving that he could do it. I don't get that.
But at initially it's because Cain Velasquez was a champion. They were both teammates, so he wouldn't fight him. So when Cain retired, or everything going on in Cain's life, he was able to move up, and plus he wanted to test himself eventually. But yeah, as a heavyweight, he was fighting pretty heavy. He was in the 240, 250 range. And you could tell that he was not worried about cutting weight at that point when he showed up those fights.
No, he had knockout speed. He still had great endurance. He never got tired. I don't know.
Yeah, but I remember one of his last light heavyweight fights. It was during the state wrestling championships, and he was there in Fresno coaching Neely. We sat and talked, and he had a guy there with a big old insulated bag of his lunch, of his meals, and it was very regimented. It was, there were times when he was on the floor coaching, and he had a meal with them, and it was, you could tell he wasn't enjoying any of that part of it, but it's his job, so he's got to do it. But cutting down to 205, you're not even allowed that 1 pound offset for championship fights. So he had to make 205, and I didn't even want to ask him what he was starting at. And believe me, this is, I think people understand or know this already. When they have him listed at 5'11", he's not 5'11".
Yeah, of course. Just like football and basketball, everything else.
Yeah. But
yeah, well, look at his career now. I know he was like joking about how great his suit looked and everything, boy. He's a naturally big boy, but he's like, yeah, my bank account's bigger, look at it now.
Yeah. Plus he's an analyst now, so he's still, he's actually doing a lot of good stuff out in this area now. He's coaching the Gilroy High School wrestling team, and he's taken them to like some serious levels. So, and that's all on him. And even when he was coaching the wrestling team at AKA, the kids wrestling team, it was all his money. He was buying all of them their gear. So their singlets, their leather jackets, their everything else, their awards, that was coming out of his pocket. The awards dinners, that was all him. So he's very, I know he has some kind of weird reputation for some, I don't know why, but no, he was always very good to those kids, and he was always very friendly with all the parents.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great to hear. You love hearing stories like that. They obviously the news isn't going to talk about that, but if you did something wrong, you'll be all in the headlines.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get to our topic for today. What do you got?
Yeah, so obviously you're not doing the whole big sciencey thing today, but I guess a couple of things that have really bugged me on social media, because it's my job to kind of monitor this, and the negativity and everything else, just got to go on the rat. Just got to throw all that out. But I guess the mindset of people, that I kind of wanted to discuss, that the mindset of people and how they're looking at the gym thing can either be good or bad, obviously. But it seems like they're taking the mindset that you would have during, your competitive years, or what, Ramon is doing during his competitive years, or who are the bikini girls now that are winning? I have no clue anymore.
Dude, I know them by face, some of them, but yeah.
No offense to them, but there's a lot of division now. They're gonna have that fit model division, so let's throw everything out of whack. But they're taking what they're doing, and I've heard this from people. I want to follow your wife because I want to see what she's doing. I'm like, she's a professional bodybuilder at the time. That what she's doing is not what you need to be doing unless maybe if you're going to compete. But if you're going to compete, you're her height, weight, and age, then maybe. But just the fact that they're making it seems like too many people are making it their actual identity as a person is what they do in the gym and how they eat, So I heard someone today at the gym, he was not feeling so great. But he was talking to another bikini pro that's in our gym about but he's in there because he's all about the lifestyle. And I'm like, dude, you're a computer programmer at Apple.
Yeah, I think that's where just the internet has came into play. And, I think every sport grows from the previous great people who helped that sport. And, a lot of me and Ronnie and Jay and Chris, all of our training is all out there, and we see it all the time. Recut, re-edited, with different music and stuff. So, yeah, you have a lot of people watching that, but what they don't understand is that was 100% our job. We didn't do anything else. I mean, I was fortunate when I turned pro. I didn't do nothing else. I was paid to train, and I was paid to compete. So that was my focus. And again, I remember even back then, people would come in the gym, and I guess, I told the story before, but there was this, I just felt he was a pretty intimidating black cat, right? And, we would never make eye contact, and I'd always see them in the gym and everything. And just one day out of nowhere, he just like, man, you one intense brother. And I was like, me? And then I'd have other people come in the gym and they try to have a conversation with me, and I wouldn't really engage because I'm like, I'm at work, and I would like, why are you not talkative? You take this too serious, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, how about if I walked into your job and just walked up to you and started talking to you? What if you worked in a doctor's office, or, you're a dental assistant or something? I just walked in there and started, this, you got to understand, you're in here for recreational reasons. This is different for me. So I get it, being focused, and you have to be focused and consistent to make changes and gains. But yeah, I see it all the time in a gym where people, I don't think they compete, man, but they're all about it. I mean, they have the gym bag, all their gear, and so mentally and this, that, and other. And I'm like, and I kind of just chuckle it off, but I don't know, maybe they're in training to try to become where they can compete or something like that. I don't know, I mean, but yeah, I do think it's a little overboard, especially I see a lot of women in a gym, and they'll be all dolled up, eyelashes and makeup and everything, but then they have all their workup gear to kind of go hard, always taking selfies and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's somewhat annoying, but then I just chalk it up. Hey, listen, they're in their own lane. I'm looking at them in their lane. I need to stay out of their lane and be focused what I'm here in the gym. But I think it is out of control, and it is a little, it's funny, sometimes, but I mean, on the other side of it, their credit, I don't know what they're going through.
Sure.
I don't know how this is mentally or physically helping them. I don't know what their real drive is or anything like that. And I'm never one to steal someone's thunder or to take away their dream or what they're fighting for. Maybe they're trying to achieve something like that. I don't know. But from the outside looking in, let's just say it's interesting.
Yeah, and the problem for if we look at it from the business standpoint for the gyms or everybody else, it's they're freaking out normal people who want to try to start just getting some exercise in to be healthier because they think it's like everybody thought when The Biggest Loser came out that every trainer acts like that idiot Jillian Michaels. They think that we're sitting there literally yelling at people and screaming at them and belittling them, and they have to realize first off that's TV, so they're and reality TV is about as real as superheroes are on Marvel movies. So there's that. Plus,
wait a minute, do you mean they're not real?
No, just Thor. Thor's real, but everybody else isn't.
Okay.
But no, I mean, but on top of it, though, Jillian Michaels literally is a lunatic and a fucking idiot, just in general. So you put that together with reality TV, and you're just going to get absolute craziness. And she is not nearly like anyone else in the fitness world, and she's probably the least qualified person. I can name a couple hundred trainers that I would trust more than her. But again, you see these people walking around with a notebook, writing things down, which also makes no sense to me in the world we have these, when you could just literally dictate it with your mouth. But anyway, plus it goes onto the cloud, so it goes everywhere with you. And if you have handwriting like mine, you probably would better off doing with this anyway.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Plus, you and I can make it bigger so we can actually read it because we're getting old. But no, that carried around, now, I mean, you remember back in the day where we'd all carry around a 2-gallon jug of water. People are carrying 5-gallon jugs of water now in the gym.
What? You're not even going to complete that in a workout.
Maybe it's their water for the week. I don't know, but literally it looks like those gasoline cans in the back of a Jeep.
I mean, I get that if it's their water intake for the whole day, but I would buy the 5-gallon one, and then I'd buy 1 gallon, and then I just refill that from the 5-gallon. I take the 1 gallon in the gym, and as it get empty, I refill it. But to carry around a 5 freaking gallon of water, you know how heavy that is, dude?
Yeah.
Jeez, gosh.
Yeah, because that's what's on top of the thing behind you right there. That's 5 gallons right there. That's what people are carrying around.
Seriously, you seen people carrying that?
It might be 3 gallons, but it literally looks like those gas canisters. That's what people are carrying around now.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just average Joe that never really been an athlete, just doing what he needs to do to get through life and has kids and everything else, but you want to get in shape because you don't like the belly come around. What is that visual going to do to your want to actually, you want to go to the gym, but now you're intimidated. You feel like you're, and this is what you're going to hear from all the clients that are in that mode, which is 90+% of those people, and then we have that visual. We have what you talked about, women walking around, they did their hair before they went to the gym. They did their makeup before they went to the gym. They have an outfit on that costs more than my BMW, right?
Yeah.
You got that walk around. So there goes intimidating both men and women. And then you got all these trainers are online that are, sitting there doing their videos with their shirts off, talking shit about someone else and their content, which is the majority of them. Now, point of order on this one. If you're stitching videos, like you see something and you want to make a counterpoint and you put some scientific facts behind it and you back it up, there's a lot of guys especially on the nutrition side that are doing that. They might be stitching something that the current, whoa, what was that?
It's Zeus just freaking up on the stairs, just rolling around.
To be young again.
Yeah,
but stitching something scientifically disagree with and putting their point of view on there versus I'm seeing too many, and there's one guy I can think of, his entire focus is I'm going to stitch someone's content. I'm going to talk smack. Oh, by the way, bottom line of my comments is sign up for my training if you want to get in shape. Not how I'm going to get you in shape, but this person's an idiot. And half of his stuff has been stitching all these OnlyFans content creators that are doing advertising in the gym, some kind of stuff like that. I'm not sure how stitching some OnlyFans person is going to sell your personal training online.
Yeah.
And the sad part is he's actually pretty clever, and he's a little funny about it. He's got a porn stash, so that just makes me disgusted to begin with. But some of our friends are following this guy. Some of our well-known friends are following this guy. I'm hoping for entertainment. But he's like a ratio of 1 to 20 actual content that says this is what I could do for you versus I'm gonna talk about this guy.
Yeah, it's too many of those guys. I mean,
well, what makes this guy worse is he put up a video the other day that's actually justifying the killing of Alex Preddy, the nurse in Minnesota.
Listen, you know, I contemplate on talking about that type of stuff, but I go and I look at the comments of the people who do, and it's such hate and just fights between people that I'm like, okay, I don't want to bring that to the table. But hey, all I gotta say about that stuff is, man, it's like, yeah, they need to find a better way. You know, we're on our way to tearing the country apart and possibly going into civil war. Definitely going towards martial law, which is going to, I think, cause civil war here. And you know, just on that whole thing, I've watched all the various different angles. Listen, man, that weapon was taken away, and you see another officer pulling his weapon out already as that one agent is running away from him. That's and just for the people who are making excuses that you know, him bringing a weapon in that many rounds. Listen, I carry a weapon. You know, I have my CCW, and I carry extra magazines with me because just on that safety reason. He was following the law. He didn't touch his weapon whatsoever. Plus, it wasn't even at his side or his frontal, which is easier to get access. It was all the way in his sixth area. So, yeah, that's.
Well, on top of it, everything that the local law enforcement has reported is everything he was completely legal, license-wise, and permitted.
Yeah. And people say, well, why would he carry that to a protest? I carry mine everywhere I go.
You have it at the gym.
Everywhere. I mean, because you just never know. You know, I even used to question whether to carry it at church or not, but how many church shootings have there happened? We just live in a time and area where people of that mind frame carry everywhere they go because you never know. And just like if you disobey the police, you will be handled in a certain way. Well, okay, let's go back to January 6th. Mm-hmm. So you're basically saying that all those officers should have took many, many, many lives, yet they didn't, and the only person who did is being, you know,
well, that's again looking at the nuance of it. You're a former law enforcement officer. I've actually completed a post academy. My wife is a watch commander for the local sheriff. Going back to January 6th one, yeah, I mean, under that logic, they should have opened fire and just cut a bunch of people down. But then you look at the numbers, whoever's in charge would have to look at the logistics of everything. You open fire on one, what's going to happen? Either they're all going to scatter and go the opposite direction, or they're going to rush you.
Yeah.
And you're outnumbered.
Right? More deaths.
They're outnumbered 100 to 1. So it doesn't matter how many rounds they let off. You have 15 plus a one in the chamber for a typical, sidearm. You're outnumbered 100 to 1. You don't have, even with your 2 extra magazines, let's say you have 3, you're still out. You're not going to be able to cut down 100 people. Yeah. And if they get close enough, I remember I'm sure you remember these drills when you have someone, let's say with a knife in hand or whatever, and they say take cover, even if you have them at point, because they can rush you. Yeah. And you don't know when they're going to do that. Then you have to react. Yeah. But they also showed that, how much they go over de-escalation and use of force parameters. Sure. 8-on-1, you're typically going to win that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's
That's what killed my wife's. That's part of what killed my wife's campaign. Was she said, we're here to protect and serve everyone. That's from the innocent bystander on the street to the victim to once we have someone in custody, they are under our protection. If Charles Manson is in your jail and your custody, he is under your protection. If he is harmed, that falls on us. And people looked at her like she was nuts.
Yeah. No, we're just entering some very interesting times, and for me, what's most embarrassing is here we were, a country that's supposed to have set standards for freedom of speech and free rights, and all these other countries that we went into their country and hostily took over because they weren't treating people right. We're the standard of that right now. So they're all looking at us like, how could we accept any freaking tutelage or from any guys where you can't even, you can't even cut your own backyard. So, but anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I have my own personal views and I try to just stay neutral as much as I can. But yeah, something needs to happen because we're not going in a good direction at all.
I'm hoping the one thing we can all agree on: people just shouldn't be killed. Listen, we've had enough death. I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on. That should be kind of that's something I think we should all be able to agree on. But the other thing we could probably agree on is you shouldn't be a douchebag, but you should be working out. So, what I want to discuss on that one again, you went from, I guess we could both say we've gone through being competitive, high-level athletes, and then things change as we age, and everybody retires at some point.
Of course.
And something that I guess both you and Dexter both said was pretty profound about the mindset of what you even call it. So, I wanted you to elaborate on that a little bit more because you said you had that conversation with him a while back. And
yeah.
How many Arnold Classics and Olympias between you two?
Huh?
How many Arnold Classics between you two?
9? He has 5. Yeah, 9. Yeah, 9. 9 years.
Oh, okay, so this is coming from multiple Arnold Classic winners. Back when it was hard.
No, I just truly had to change my mind frame on my capabilities. Listen, I still go in a gym and my thought is I'm going to destroy this gym. But when I get in there, I start touching iron. It's like my body speaks back to me. It's like, yeah, man. So I don't work out anymore. I don't train anymore. I exercise. That's what I do. I go in there and I exercise. And I had to change that mentality. For one, just the body isn't able. I kept tearing different things as I got older. And my desires are greatly different. And my willingness to achieve a look is very different also. So I exercise when I go in the gym, and it's really hard because even myself, I get affected by these people that are in there that are getting at it, just having a great workout. And I got to tell myself, hey, stay in my lane. Don't try to compete. Don't do more weight, because you're going to mess around. Is he loud?
That one, yeah, I'm going to pause real quick. Okay.
So, yeah, I got to remind myself of that. Actually, I was training in the gym yesterday with my son, Darius, and he hasn't trained for a long time. So he's not as strong in his endurances. And I try to keep my motto of 20 reps, no matter what. And
oh, boy.
We're both there huffing and puffing. And I looked at him and I was like, and I just shook my head. I was like, man, this is so embarrassing for me. And he goes, you? And I go, so you doing the same thing? You're saying, oh, how weak I am. People are looking at me. This sucks. He goes, yep. I'm like, yeah, man, it's hard. I go, here we are supposed to be working out, but our brain is working against us based on surroundings of other people in there. But, I got to understand I'm not that guy no more. I'm not, like even the photo I posted yesterday at my site chess, I was just looking at that, and I was just thinking at that time when I looked like that, all I did is talk all this nonsense like, oh, this sucks. Oh, look at this. This needs to be bigger. And I post and I look at it and I was like, good grief, man, that is some crazy size. Look, I remember being able to like stand and just reach. So I had to reach so far down just to grip my whole hamstring. And now I can take my hand and put it in my entire leg, but listen, like you said, and like I tell everybody who question me about that, I'm like, listen, all good things come to an end eventually. They do. And people kind of like, I remember like Dex used to joke with me like, oh my God, dude, look how great you are, man. You're getting old. I'm like, Dex, continue living and you will be where I'm at. And now he's all gray and he's talking that same talk, but it's just hard.
You should have had that on video to show him.
Oh man,
I've seen his beard
God.
lately.
Oh, he is. Oh yeah, he is great. He is great. But yeah, you have to. Everybody goes through that. I'm sure at some point, even with Muhammad Ali's mind frame, he had to understand I'm not that guy anymore. Jordan had to realize I'm not that guy anymore and switch over to business. It happens to all of us. Yeah. It happens to all of us. Some stay a little bit too long and, they run into the upcoming warrior and they get ran through like they would.
LeBron.
Yeah. Look at you.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about, load management and things have changed. I mean, Michael Jordan played 82 games when he was 40. And he made the All-Star team that year too, didn't he, LeBron? He didn't. But
yeah. That's just a discussion that I think it's always going to be Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, just like, people talk about what if Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee fought. It's with that when I hear those arguments, it's obviously that they're recognized greatness.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to compare greatness against greatness, but and all of their times they were incredible. And yeah, the sport was a lot more physical back then. Even we were having a meeting yesterday with the Olympic Committee because we're, our mental health is going to have another booth there. And we were talking about that with his team, with Tim's team. And he introduced the young lady. He's like, hey, she's bringing back muscle and fitness. We're going to do it just 1 month, September. Flex, we love to, get an interview with you just talking about how times were back then. And Tim was like, man, I remember like the USA, the entire place would be sold out and it would be every celebrity, of all divisions there watching, and how we would all travel to all the big shows, all the professionals. We'd travel to all the big NPC shows all over the world and be there as a team and just different. Now he's like, yeah, man, camaraderie is different. And even, Steve Weinberg, who I was just on the phone texting late last night, and he's like, man, we're having our anniversary coming up. We'd love to have you there. And I was just talking about, man, we didn't know what we were doing back then. We were just, setting a benchmark so high. And he goes, yeah, it was really different, man, the camaraderie and everything. But, but I'm sure this age of competitors feel like they're at the prime too, and I guess you're supposed to, if you're that young warrior, you're not supposed to have a mentality where you're going to let someone else be ahead of you or anything like that. But, I try not to get involved in those conversations because I know I don't want to be disrespectful to the current champions. I don't want to compare myself to them. But when I am, I just recognize, wow, that was 15, 20 years ago. When you even like have me in a conversation, that just, that means that I was a formidable competitor now. But I acknowledge, like, it always would be pictures of me and Phil. They would post them to, side by side. And sometimes I comment like, "Yay, thanks for all the nice comments, but no matter what, this dude has Olympia titles and I don't. Therefore, it is what it is." So, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard turning off that switch. But if you don't, your body will, and you will destroy your body if you don't.
Yeah, and it's actually, you know what I would have liked to see in the 93 U next to 2023 Bumstead.
I've seen that picture before.
Have they done that one?
Yeah, they've done that picture before. Yeah, and even kudos to Bumstead. I mean, when he was on Pat Bendetten podcast, he had said, "Yeah, Flex is one of my favorites back in that time." So, I always thought he could go to the open division and dominate just with his lines, and because he was so much heavier, he's one of those guys I'm like, why diet down to such a lightweight when you're such a naturally big, muscular guy? But obviously he knew what he was doing, and, he'll be written off as, one of the greatest competitors ever to do it, and people are still chasing him and will be chasing his titles, for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to beat his streak for a while.
Yeah. And he was lean. He was in shape.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that would have worked against him in the open division because they want that massive size. He was just, he'd have to be going on stage at 300 pounds.
Yeah, and that's why I've always people like to say my 93 was my best, and I'm like, no, that wouldn't have won against a bigger person, in today's world.
Yeah,
because they equate size and mass so much. So I would even argue that my 93 look wouldn't have defeated my 99 look at the English Grand Prix. I had all the lines. I was lean, but I was so full and so much muscle. It's kind of like the Ronnie situation. I seen a post where they're like, did Ronnie deserve to win against Flex? And they had all the reasons why. He was too muscular, he had too much condition, and he just had too much size, where Flex had the flowing lines, the beautiful lines. He was complete. It was everything. Ronnie just out-muscled him. And there you have it. It wasn't the days back when you had, the Olympias that they just won purely on their symmetrics and their lines and their flows, even though somebody else was a lot bigger and more muscular than them. Those times are gone where they judge, completely different now.
Yeah. Speaking of completely different now, again, going back towards the mindset and how we're working out later on, or just in general, because we're not, 99% of you are not going to get on stage and do anything there. I mean, just have to be 100% honest. But as we age, and this is something we've been preaching for a while now, things change no matter how healthy or active you are anyway, right? So as you age, I mean, we've done reports on at the age of 30, men start to lose 1% testosterone production every year. And that's compounded. So it's not you've lost 10% of where you were at 30 by the time you're 40. It's a compounded number. So you've lost more than 10%. And if you're sitting at 600 as a normal person, now you could be thinking 70 points lower, which starts to progress. And that's not even looking at free testosterone numbers, which is at a it could be even lower. And that's the important one. So, you were doing TRT before it was really more widespread and well known because of specific reasons, obviously, but because your doctor actually said, no, it cannot be this low. You're going to have health problems. This will cause issues, right?
79.
We're not talking about intimacy issues. We're talking about health issues and mental issues.
Yeah.
So we got involved with, LaQuentin and Andre because, they were wanting to start up this telehealth business, and we saw a need for it, especially, I'm really promoting it heavily towards law enforcement and first responders right now because of the stresses they go through and having to get to their mid to late 50s just to even qualify for a pension so they can live, post-retirement. But you have to get there, or you want to get there as healthy as possible, and you want to be healthy after. But that's the general public. Yeah. And if you're a guy and you're in your 40s or 50s, your testosterone levels are nowhere near where they used to be, and there's health issues with that. That's why you might get the brain fog and the low energy, and you got the pooch around the middle now because fat stores are getting higher and it's all around the midsection, and muscles going away and you have no energy, right? I mean, it's how many people fall under that umbrella right now at our age, and we haven't even brought up women yet. That hormonal issues there.
Way too many, and a lot of them don't even know it. Men just kind of adapt and continue. You know what I mean? They don't sit down and recognize, wow, something might be wrong here. If they're tired, they're like, okay, well, work harder. You know, I'm getting a little bit overweight. Yes, because I'm getting older.
Yeah.
You know, or I have the clarity of thought anymore. It's because just brain's getting older, not realizing that hormonally things are unbalanced, and that's the reason why that's the case. And there's honestly, with the technology that we have now, there's no reason why you shouldn't live a completely healthy, active life as you get older. With Prime Mode MD, you can solve those problems just by going on and talking to one of our registered doctors. Doing a blood work and finding out where you are. By the way, if you're in your 40s, you should be doing regular blood work every 3 to 6 months anyway, regardless if your last ones were healthy. I remember when Ronnie had his scare, he was like, my last blood work was fine. So I skipped one, thinking, well, they've all been fine since then. And if he didn't skip that one, it would have been caught a lot earlier. So you just never know.
Well, bare minimum, you should be getting it done at our age with every checkup yearly, at the very, very, very least.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys I've talked to a lot of guys that are even doing stuff, supplementing, quote unquote, with black market stuff. They're not getting their blood work done at all. Now, they're not taking super physiological doses of anything either. They're not trying to be Mr. Olympia or even get on stage at all. They're taking, minor amounts. They might not need TRT. They're taking just above TRT level to look better, which again falls into that category, but they're not doing blood work at all.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how minute the doses are. You take 1 penny and you save 1 penny for a year, it adds up. Every little raindrop it is a piece of that puzzle that was a flood somewhere. But it took just those tiny raindrops to make that happen. So, we're not doctors. We can't sit here and say, hey, I feel great. I look great. Therefore, everything internally is great. And even taking minor doses, certain parts of your body is chemically turning off because it's saying, I don't have to produce this anymore. Or you might have to take other things to counter the negative effect of those small doses. You just don't know. And going to Prime Mode MD, doing the blood work, you can find those things out.
And actually pull up the website right there.
There it is. It's really simple.
Yeah, and it's we do.
I took that photo.
And obviously our programs vary. When we do initially it was started up as a weight loss program. So we do the GLP-1. So everything from Ozempic to tirzepatide to Wegovy, not really our focus anymore because that's, I think we did a whole show on the whole GLP-1 thing. And I remember you guys were mad at me because like, wait, we saw this stuff, but change things around. So, we even do the peptide therapies and the hormone therapy. Everything from there all the way down to we have options for if there's pain situations for ketamine therapy even. So everything is covered that we can help you out with on that. And it comes along with on the weight loss and hormone therapy side of things, it comes along with the Flex Wheeler training programs. That's fitness and nutrition. So nothing is left to chance.
Nope. One-stop shop. All you got to do is care enough about yourself to find out. Which you should invest in yourself more than you invest in anything else.
Right. The one thing, this is actually the part that I'm actually getting a lot of raised eyebrows because they're pleasantly surprised. Let's say if you go on hormone therapy, obviously everything starts with the blood tests and the consultation. But if you look on the consultation side, that's a 60-minute consultation. So it's not a 15-minute doctor's appointment where you're in and out and they try to get you done as quickly as possible. You are getting a 60-minute session with a doctor, and it's telehealth, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to leave your house. It's online, but ask away the questions and really get in deep to make sure you're understanding what's going on and what works best for you. And that'll be along with your wellness advisor, who is kind of the intermediary. So coming more from a fitness wellness background, so they can kind of meld the two together, which is something that physicians aren't really trained in that side of things, even though our physicians are endocrinologists for the most part. They're really not versed in fitness and nutrition.
Right. It's not their specialty.
Yeah, I think what they get in school on that one is pretty small. So, but yeah, that's our program. But that's something that I don't think is actually negotiable anymore if you really want to get good results. Because we can give you all the programming and nutrition side perfectly, but nothing has changed. You're still aging. And
that's right.
And
that's right.
Age is not just a number, it's a fact of life. It's Mother Nature, it's biology. So anybody online telling you age is just a number, I'm 56, but I look 26, they're out of their minds. And they could use our mental health programs probably. But when you're getting older, with a few exceptions out there, like, I can't even name any because they don't happen. Those people, the people who are those exceptions you think that are in Hollywood, they're getting scientific help.
Yeah.
Demi Moore looks great, but Demi Moore has probably spent more money on her body than you have spent on your house.
Yeah, I can't even tell you the actors that I've helped, get in shape for a role, and the various different things we had to do to be creative. But because they're not a mass monster or extremely muscular, people think, oh, they just did that naturally on their own, which I guess that's just the wonders of Hollywood, right?
Well, it's all Hollywood's an illusion, isn't it?
Oh God, it's definitely not what people think it is. Let's just leave it at that.
And just to throw it out there, we talked about superheroes a little bit earlier. Thor really can't fly. For those of you who
yes, he can.
Aren't fully understand what
he can. Yes, he can. Thor can. Yes, he can. And his hammer is really heavy.
That's magic.
Oh gosh.
You have to be worthy.
Yeah. So I don't know who that be, but there you have it. Please have a look at Prime Mode MD. If you just have questions, if you're curious,
stickers down there.
Any of those things, you can set up a consultation and talk to an online doctor. You don't have to leave your office. Everything is turnkey, regardless of what you have help or what you need help with. But I would definitely, just for the benefit of having a healthy life, go and get some blood work done and see where your markers are. And it's never too late. The only time it's too late is when it's really too late. And even when you're sick and you're forced into the hospital, first thing they're going to do is do blood work to see where your markers are. It's still going to happen. So why don't you take control of that before it gets too bad? But other than that, there you have it. Another episode of Flex for Life. Please like, share, follow, comment. It definitely helped the algorithms to get us up there a little higher. If you have any questions, if you have any topics you'd love for us to discuss, just hit it in the comments. We'll get to it. From that, I wish you guys all a great weekend. From Greg and Flex, we'll see you next time.